What's up, everybody? Brad Petty back again from NPi Entertainment. Today I'm sitting down with my friend Justin Nyce, aka Justin Nyce. Did I say your last name correctly?
That's correct. Spot on.
I've never actually said it out loud. Justin Nyce.
Yeah. Just like Bill Nye, science guy, music guy, whatever you want to call it.
So Justin is talking to me live and direct from Columbus, Ohio, right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Justin is originally from Akron. I met him while he was living in Cleveland, and he is a DJ on the NPi Entertainment roster, and he does a lot of big things around the country, if not the world. Right now, Justin lives in Columbus. Like I said, he is I don't know. Explain what you're doing these days. Prior to COVID-19 shelter in place, what is your role in Columbus?
So in Columbus, I am partnered up with Forward Hospitality Group, and I've been with them since we opened our first spot up in Cleveland for nightclub. And so they called me up this past year to help open a restaurant and a bar / lounge down here in Columbus, Ohio, called SeeSaw. So I'm helping run and operate that down here, run some of the marketing, run some of the nightlife, some of the bar management. Obviously handle all the DJ and the entertainment as well. And along with that, still DJing full time, obviously, making music on the side, traveling to Vegas and Chicago, maybe once a month right now on average, to go out and DJ at those cities as well.
So I was pointing to my hat. I have a SeeSaw hat on that Justin gave me. I've actually never been to SeeSaw, but I like black hats, so he gave me this hat to wear.
I appreciate it.
Justin, you are originally from Akron, right?
That's right.
So, okay, you got your start in Akron. Tell me about the beginning of your DJing.
So, try to keep it short. I grew up going to a pretty private, liberal music and art school till about high school. So, I was doing all types of instruments, but mainly I was doing drums. So, I grew up drumming. And so I was in the music, and I just started coming across a bunch of things on like the internet, YouTube videos of the European festivals and the dance music culture and all that. So that got me super interested. And then I came across videos of like DJ AM spinning, like super open format, all types of genres. And I saw Jazzy Jeff and guys like that, and just immediately fell in love with, the fact that I could take what I like about music and turn it into something huge and play for big crowds and things like that, and not have to focus on mastering just the drums.
How did you start playing? What was the first gear you used?
A set of Gemini turntables and a Newmark mixer sometime in high school from a buddy who was sitting in his basement with dust on him. And luckily got a hold of that, set it up in the bedroom, and grabbed some of my mom's like Stevie Nicks records and things like that, and Michael Jackson, and just started messing around with them. And to me, it was like super hard. I was like thinking how hard this was, that these DJs are doing this crazy thing.
Right.
It was like 3 years after Serato came out. So I was seeing all these videos of like AM just doing crazy things and loading music so fast. And I quickly learned like he was using computer software. So I was right there in the middle where, I started on records and stuff like that, but then I quickly switched over to computer software because I was like, damn, I can throw any music I want and not have to carry all this music.
What was it, Serato, or was it like Final Scratch?
It was Scratch Live. It was, the big clunky SL1 box, and
I had actually Final Scratch, which was before Scratch Live.
Yeah. Okay. No, I didn't.
And then there was another thing before Final Scratch that I actually won in a DJ battle, and I sold to somebody. I never even used it. I was playing records at the time, and I was like, this is too much. I can't even figure this out. Just sold it.
Yeah.
But sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I'm very fortunate. I'm actually, I listen to a lot of my older friends and some veteran DJs talk about those days carrying around crates. And I'm just like, man, thank God I didn't have to do that. I mean, I just feel lucky that I was at the age and I started getting into it when I did. Just felt like perfect timing for me. But even I couldn't afford the equipment, like the Serato and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
started doing my bike. That was also when the Pioneer CDJs first came out, or like
Yeah.
the old versions.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing mix CDs. So I'd had big booklets of mix CDs, and I'd label them and mix on those without software. So learning kind of the traditional way with no computer at first really, I think, kicked me off in the right way, because I
Yeah.
wasn't glued to a computer just depending on visual. You know, and with the drumming, I knew what instruments were going with what. So I think
Right.
it helped a lot the way I did it. But
Yeah, for sure. For those who don't know, now when we DJ, we have, most of us have a program called Serato DJ, and we combine it with a laptop and we can see the waveforms on the screen. So even if you don't even have headphones on, and you can kind of like figure out what's going on with the waveforms, you can sort of beat match the music without even hearing it. So after high school, you went to Kent State?
no, I went to Akron U.
Oh, okay. That's right.
University for a couple of years. I was in computer networking and IT systems, like I was so bored so fast with it. I mean, I was in in basement, in classes in the basement of that school, doing stuff on the computer. And I just my mind was just going a mile a minute on other things, on music and just more creative stuff. So
Yeah.
quickly learned that wasn't going to be it for me. So I just got out of that. It was working, and I just started DJing like 5-6 nights a week when I was like 18, 19 years old. So
When you went to school there, we were actually, my wife and I were just talking about this over dinner. Did you have a card that you could use to buy food on? You'd put money on the card, and then you'd go to like a cafeteria and get like salads and stuff.
yes. I don't remember what it exactly was, but I do remember.
Well, I went to Ohio State, and we had a buck. It was called Buck ID,
Yeah.
and my parents would put some money on it, for me to eat. And I would go to the record stores, took it, they accepted it. So
Oh, no way.
just buy records.
Just buy music.
This is how
That's
I got
hilarious.
started into DJing. I would just go buy hip hop records, and
Yeah.
then I would just try to figure out the conversation started at dinner because I was telling my daughter how I would buy cans of tomato soup and pasta and like try to pretend like the tomato soup was sauce.
Yeah.
And like I would just eat that and then spend all my money on records.
Dang.
Yeah,
It's a
so
rough life, but doing exactly what you wanted to do instead of,
right. I was buying Method
So.
Man records.
Yeah.
So in Akron, were you DJing a lot? Tell us about your first club gig or bar or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or house party, frat party.
Yeah. It was house parties and frat parties on campus. I was just using CDs. I wasn't mixing, obviously. I was just known as the DJ to
Right.
bring all the good music that was like out and girls could dance to. And I'd bring them to the college house parties when I was like 15, 16. I was like a freshman in high school, but they were always inviting me to their college parties. So I would do the music, and that was like my in for the older crowd. So, and then once I really actually started figuring out the technical stuff, I started DJing those parties, and then got into a bar and a club in Akron when I was like 18, I want to say, because I had a couple of older buddies that were playing there, and I would just go with them to their gig, and the bar owners or the managers would think I was 21.
Right.
I even got asked a couple times, and my buddy would cover for me. They're like, yeah, he's 21. So got to drink, got to listen and learn, kind of how to DJ.
Yeah.
And then eventually it was real simple. They couldn't do a night, or they wanted me to open up for them. And that was my in right away. So,
Nice. When I first started seeing your name, it was in Cleveland, West 6th Street clubs. How did you end up there?
Just meeting,
networking, and
and friends of friends. My buddies down in Akron had buddies in Cleveland that were DJing, and it was kind of, they all knew who we were, and they, we knew who they were. So we would, my whole thing was like, yo, let's go up there. and hang out, just see how the bars are up there and clubs are up there. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I did. And got more talking, and the exact same thing started to happen. One of my friends from Cleveland needed a night filled, and he started calling me and seeing if I could do it. My first gig in Cleveland was it used to be called Suite 6 on West 6.
Yep.
I was filling in for my buddy. And then from there, it was just like the next weekend, he needed another gig filled somewhere else, and it just started from there. So.
Who was it? Who was that DJ?
EV, my buddy.
Okay.
EV, Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So then you ended up at Forward and Magnolia. Which came first, or was it at the same time?
Forward came first. And so my friends and business partners, Dante and Bobby, they approached me through, I think, text or email, and that they were going to do this outdoor club that's no one's ever seen in Cleveland. And Dante was actually booking me at the 9 hotel.
Okay.
So that was the relationship I had with him. I don't think I'd even met him, but he started to tell me about this spot that they were opening up. And I just knew right away he knew what he was doing, and he knew what he was talking about, and the place was going to be great, because I just felt like Cleveland was always like 10 steps behind other bigger market cities. Because I had started going to Vegas when I was 21, like with my buddy Jake. Him and I would go out to Vegas a lot, like once every other month, or a few times during the year. So I started getting the ideas and getting all the inspiration from out there, and I would come back to Cleveland and try to tell people about it, or at least have that in the back of my head. So I knew what they were going to do. So I was like on board from day one before the place was built. And so I've been with them ever since. So that was like 6 years ago or so. I
remember reading about the concept for Forward when they were, when it was originally announced, and talking with people, and Clevelanders being like, this will never work. It snows here in the summer, and well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the place is ridiculous. It's always packed.
Yeah, it's a concert pretty much every weekend. It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there were so many people with doubt. I mean, that was the whole thing that I agreed with, that people in Cleveland were just kind of closed-minded and didn't really, look towards what we could do here. Right. And they, them Dante coming from Chicago, Bobby had lived in Chicago, and I think bartended there as well. And I mean, they knew it would work. They might not have been 100% on it, if it truly would, but they knew that it could. So
right.
It was great.
So Forward, if you don't know, it's an outdoor summer club. I don't know if I'm describing it right, but it's an outdoor club that's open probably like Memorial Day weekend until like fall, like September, October.
Yeah. Pretty much, if it's nice out, we're gonna be open. So,
right. And it's Flats East Bank, and it's walking distance from their other spot, your guys' other spot, Magnolia, which is how would you describe Magnolia?
So Magnolia was, because it did close down. Yeah. It was an awesome little, almost like a speakeasy type concept. Definitely like nightclub driven, bottle service, VIP, lots of great artwork and stuff in there. And so that was the all year round venue. That didn't open up for I think 2 to 3 years after Forward did, but very intimate, very, very small space used for private events, but mainly on the weekends for dancing, club, bar. So I've had many of great nights in there along with Forward during the summer. So it's kind of like different seasons for that place and Forward, but they meshed well. And, we were able to bounce things off of each other every year with those two places. But yeah, Magnolia closed down. We're going to reconcept and reopen, obviously once everything gets back to normal, but it's going to be something new and really, really fun and exciting. So it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. During all this, you ended up moving to Vegas and pursuing residencies out there and DJing and clubs there and building your name up. traveling around the country, playing different spots. Tell me about Vegas, about being a DJ in Vegas. What's that like?
It's awesome. It was my dream since the first night I was ever there when I was 21. I think I saw Armin van Helden. He's, part of Duck Sauce
Yep.
with A-Track. I
Mhm.
saw him DJ. He was playing this awesome, fun disco house set. That was right when their Barbra Streisand song came out.
Yeah.
And the first club I ever went to was Surrender at Night,
Mhm.
which is a part of the Wynn properties.
Yeah.
So that it was out, half of it was indoors, half of it was outdoors. It was perfect weather, obviously, and it was the best thing I'd ever seen. And I'm just like, this is as good as it gets, And I was like, well, I have to at least try to make it somewhat to here one day. So that was it. I was just like, I have to get out here. I have to DJ out here one day, no matter what. So I always had that in my back of my head, even though I didn't really focus on it until I was about 26, 27. I always had it in the back of my head, like that will be when I'm like, I'll be pretty happy if I make it to that stage at least, so.
Without giving away any secrets, but like, how did you do it? How did you make it happen? I mean, you can't just go to Vegas and start DJing clubs.
No, not at all. I knew that was the case, and there's really no secrets with me. It was just meeting people. It was sacrificing a whole ton of stuff that I was doing to just do a little bit of things as far as like, so sacrificing, I had a full-time sales job in my 20s, early 20s, and all that, and just kind of start from scratch and meet people and be around people as much as I could and network. And I knew being around the right people would likely lead to something. And that's pretty much what it was. It was just meeting a few of the right people and being genuine about it. I mean,
right.
And not faking the funk. I knew if I was just organic and natural and I would start meeting enough people that something would lead to some opportunity. And that's exactly what happened.
I think a good tip for DJs coming up, you got to meet the right people, but also you have to do it in a natural way. You can't be super annoying. You can't just hit somebody up and expect because you hit them up that you're going to get something in return. You just have to kind of be normal. Just be real.
Be super normal. Just be very normal.
Don't be a weirdo. Just be normal. Yeah,
don't be a weirdo, and definitely don't be an asshole. I mean, I've come across a lot of, not in just DJing, but in sales back in the day too, just people that just weren't nice to work with or nice to talk to. Right. And you immediately kind of terminates a lot of, conversation that could have happened. So it's really just communication and just being organic. I mean, that's how I've always looked at life in general, but especially when I knew I was going to be potentially talking to people that could give me huge opportunities. So
I think another good tip for upcoming DJs is that you need to get out and check out DJs and network and be a part of the action, but not necessarily to doing it expecting something in return. Just getting out, like listening to other DJs, talking to people, seeing how songs work with crowds, seeing DJs and what they do, what their different styles are, and just kind of being part of that fabric of the scene. That pays off in the long run.
100%. Yeah, I felt like my biggest thing was going out to Vegas. I mean, I was calling off work. I was taking vacation time to jump out to Vegas with my friend just so we could check out a couple of DJs, because that was what I wanted to do. I didn't care what it took, that was like my studying, and I didn't expect anything. It was just going out there and hearing their sets and just understanding how the stuff really works. So for sure.
What was the most fun you had DJing in Vegas? Or I mean, you're not done, but what, like up to now, what was your best set?
Probably my first headline night in Vegas. about a year ago at One Oak out there. One Oak closed down, obviously. They were open for, I think, 11, 12 years. I mean, it's a legendary club and part of a legendary group. And just seeing my name up there and on the, the advertisements out in the hotel and the flyers and things like that.
Yeah.
Just the whole experience and realizing what the expectation was, that you have to nail it no matter what. There's no other option. You can't just do your thing and or get drunk and just have fun DJing, be like I probably was in some of the bar gigs back, still to this day, but some of the bar gigs, especially when I was like 21, 22, just being kind of like a mess, just having fun. I knew I had to be so sharp and on point, and that just added to it. It was so fun. I mean, so many people, so many new friends in Vegas and other DJs stopped by to support and things like that. It was just a great night. I mean, that was probably my best so far.
Going to be people watching this who are DJs, but also people who just like music.
Yeah.
And maybe want to check out some DJs. Maybe they don't know too much about dance music, electronic music, whatever you want to call it. Who should they check out? Who are you into? Who do you listen to? If you're going to listen to a mix show, who would you look up?
First one I can think of is Joe Maz, who's actually a really good friend of mine. He started his podcast or mix show, I think, maybe 6 months or a year ago. And I think it's spot on. I mean, it's exactly, I think, what he wanted out of it. And he just keeps very, very fresh dance music and all of his original and edits and remixes he does.
Yeah,
I think especially
his production's great.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like a DJ's DJ.
Exactly.
DJs that are into his sound, or really into just like they need songs that are going to work, and they want a slight remix. They see his name, they grab his tracks.
Exactly.
What's his show called so people can look it up?
It's a Joe Maz Radio.
Okay.
His last name is M-A-Z, and then just Joe Maz Radio, I believe.
Okay.
So his is spot on. His is probably the one I go to the most as far as, DJs that I actually personally know and that I look up to and all that. But honestly, along with that, I listen to BBC Radio, Diplo and Friends, all the guys and guests he has on there. And I especially listen to every time he does a mix show or set on his own, because I always, and I felt like this since I started following him way back when, is that he's always like a step ahead on influencing the scene, even if it's like hip hop or he's doing country or dance. I always listen to his mix shows to get like the freshest dance records or remixes that I know that are going to be played around the world, especially in clubs, because it's been just proven that he's like always on top of those things. So I go to his a ton.
What about locals? Any Ohio guys you want to shout out? Any up and coming DJs or even established DJs who you respect or you think people should check out?
Yeah, 100%. Gotta give a shout out to one of my best friends, Jake Haddon. He's originally from Ohio. He's down in Florida right now, but he's always putting out mixes, and I have him up at my spot up here to DJ, obviously a ton. He's always been my right-hand man, and he's the one that got me started in a lot of ways with the DJing. He's obviously very established, and he travels all over the country too to DJ. So other names I can think of, up and coming, his name is DJ Leak. He's actually from Columbus, Ohio. He's great. I've used him and at my spot, and used, I mean, just booking him a lot, giving him opportunities because he crushes it every time.
I've seen some video. Is he like into making viral videos for Twitter?
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's got so much energy and so much positivity.
Yeah.
I actually talk to him, pretty often. I'm not even sure around what age he is. I feel like he's close to my age, and it's not that he's still up and coming. It's just that he's in Columbus. So that's like kind of the first name I think of.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten to work together a lot, and he was one of the first DJs I started listening to down here. And I was like, I knew right away. I was like, I got to have him, part of the spot that we're going to open.
Sure.
Because he knows how to entertain the crowd. And he also does like a lot of good mic work. He works with the Columbus sports teams, the soccer, the OSU football and basketball and stuff like that too. So
Real quick, let's talk about mic work.
sure.
When I first came up as a club DJ, like there weren't even microphones in the clubs. If I were to get on the mic, the managers would be like, "What the hell is he doing?"
Yeah. Why are you speaking?
Yeah, like what's going on? The crowd would seriously be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like the record would scratch and come to
Yeah.
a stop.
Did someone lose their keys or something? You know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. These days in clubs, for lack of a better term, maybe bottle service clubs, it's like, and Vegas, I assume, and maybe a lot of the spots you play, it's almost like like you have to do it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Even if you're not specifically or explicitly told to you do it, it's almost a unwritten rule nowadays that you need to and you have to.
Mhm.
And to me, my opinion, it's all about keeping people engaged, just like what we're doing here. We're it's a one-on-one conversation and we're keeping each other engaged.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's one-on-one. It's the DJ and the crowd one-on-one, and you have to keep it engaged. And to me, again, my personal opinion is people get bored so quick nowadays.
Right.
People lose interest and go left 10 seconds if you're not keeping someone engaged, even if it's a lyric in a song or the type of way you bring in a song or just a quick 2 words before a beat drops. Any little thing like that to me keeps people engaged. And if you don't have that engagement, people are going to lose track, and they're going to whip out their phones and they're going to get on their phones. And that's like a DJ's worst nightmare. I feel like right now is that you stare out in the crowd and instead of dancing, you see people on their phones. And it's like, if they're doing that, you're not doing the right thing, or it may not be your fault. It might be something else, like atmospherically wrong in the room or lights or sound or something. But if you have those challenges, you can definitely work towards making that up by using the microphone and keeping people hyped up and energized. So,
And just like mixing, every DJ has a different style, and also some DJs do it well and some DJs don't. So it's a skill. If you can mix records well and also speak on the mic well, then you've got a good thing going, because not everyone can do it. And some DJs are just so nervous and stressed out when they're spinning that like the last thing they want to do is talk.
100%.
So it's like an added bonus if you find a DJ who can do both well.
Yeah, I don't judge, or I feel it all, because I've gone through every emotion with that. Thankfully, I think I find a nice balance, sometimes, most of the time with that. But it can be nerve-wracking. You can have pressure from managers or directors or even the club owners or VIP people in your ear, telling you to shout out something, or say this on the mic or say that while you're mixing. But at the end of the day, it's really all about that venue and the money that they're making, and how well the night is going and how well the party is. So if you need to get on the mic and you're being told to, it's just what it is. You gotta kind of drop all the emotions and just do it, because that's just part of the gig.
You brought up a good point too. A lot of people don't realize that when DJ's mixing, they're always thinking about the next song or the next 3 songs.
Of course.
And then if they also are in a venue where they're using a mic, they're thinking about what they're going to say. But they also often have people in both ears telling them different things. You might have somebody saying, "Hey, there's a guy who just bought a bottle and it's his birthday and you got to give him a shout out." Then you might have like somebody standing in front of you from the crowd making a request. And at the same time, you've got like another manager tapping you on the shoulder, asking you what your next song is going to be. So you have to, it's a juggling act, and it's like, it can get super stressful because you have so much going on and the energy is crazy. It's super loud to the point where you can't even think straight. Lights, TVs, phones, people dancing, bottles, sparklers.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like organized chaos, but we all love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's like just straight adrenaline, and it's like performing under pressure. It's really just like all comes down to, not all, but a lot of it comes down to just your crisis management skills. and how well you can like just keep it cool under pressure, and what I call like crisis, because like all those things you were just describing, like it's not a crisis like we're going through right now,
Right.
obviously, very clearly, but
Right.
it's in the moment of what you're doing in that specific moment. To yourself, it's like crisis. It's like, I got so many things going on, but I know I have to keep my cool and keep these people happy and having fun, because that's what translates into good business. That's what translates into bar sales, and translates into people enjoying what you're doing and wanting to know more about you, probably, and wanting to come back. I mean, it just all works together, but you have to be cool under all those things, or else,
For sure. You could just snap if you don't have the right mindset.
yeah. And I know guys, and I've even done it myself, that just sometimes will shut all that off and just, tell all those people to kind of screw off, and I'm going to do my own thing. Sometimes they get away with it, but most of the time it's not going to work in your favor, because it's not all about you. It's really not. I mean, even
Right.
that I've seen, not even with the groups I'm with, but in other cities and stuff, I've seen big names, big, huge names act like that. And they don't usually get away with it in most cases either. I mean, club owners don't care.
Oh yeah, they don't care. They don't care who you are.
They don't care who you are, So it's that type of behavior. If you decide to act like that, it's usually not going to go well. It doesn't matter who you are. But
The best thing to do is just smile, nod your head, and make it happen.
yeah,
I mean, really, that's like the best thing in really any job. You
yeah,
just
for sure.
make it happen.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I like to do this series is because people don't always get to see the person behind the Instagram pictures and the videos and, all the cool stuff that we see on social media. So I want our viewers to kind of get to know the people who I sit down and speak with. So I also want to ask you a few questions outside of DJing.
Sure.
Do you do anything outside of DJing? Do you have a life outside of music? Like, are you into books or hobbies or anything?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Me too.
I try to. That's how I get my news. I really try to stay away from the mainstream news. Not that it's all fake or real, and not even to remotely get into politics, but I try to do research on my own and have my own opinions on everything. So if I feel like if I gather a bunch of information from a lot of credible sources, then I can formulate my own opinions and feel good about what's going on and what I'm learning. So and how I do that is like through podcasts and through audiobooks as well.
Sure.
So
What's your go-to for when you want to listen to an audiobook? What, like, any particular genres or themes or whatnot that you go for?
it's usually mindset focused books, and how to be successful by taking over your own thoughts and prioritizing your thoughts. It's real psychological type things, because I feel like mental health is probably the biggest thing for me personally. If I can keep that at a super high level, I'll be able to do a ton of things. I'll be able to travel a ton with DJing. I'll be able to have business, be a partner, being in huge projects with the business side, and
Right.
have all these creative thoughts circulating all the time. I feel like I'll be able to do a lot of that if I keep the mental health at the highest I can. So it's usually focused around that.
And keep your cool in the DJ booth when you've got like 10 requests coming at you at the same time. Right.
Yeah, 100%. And the guy that's spending 10K, that's tugging on your arm literally to play a song that you're going to play.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's on the must playlist.
Yeah, it's getting played regardless. So
Right.
you just got to deal with it.
During this shelter in place, are you cooking a lot? Are you still eating out, or like getting it
cooking
delivered?
A lot and wishing I was cooking a lot? Yeah, that's more towards what I'm doing. Wishing I was cooking a lot, attempting to cook. Yeah. Having my mom, literally my mother, send me recipes through email. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's like things that she would make when I was growing up. I ask her and she's like, how the hell did you remember that? And then, it's crazy, because once a thing like this is happening, you simplify your entire life, I feel like. And you take, for me, you take inventory of kind of everything in your life of like, and you look back to, and then you're like, okay, what can I use from my lifetime up till now to make this situation better?
Right.
So that's kind of what I've been doing with the food and trying to cook things, is just like going back to like basics and just trying to utilize every resource I have, recipes from my mom, or trying to learn how to cook something that I've eaten 100 million times and I have no idea how to cook it. I'll look it up on YouTube and try to figure it out. So it's kind of what I'm doing now.
So what's next for you? Obviously, we are all stuck at home indefinitely. Hopefully this thing's going to end soon and we can get back out. What are your goals for either 2021, 2020, hopefully? I'm already like in next year. 2020, 2021. What's on your plate?
On the musical side is production. Finding the time, making the time to put the hours in production. I did do some production school out in Los Angeles about a year and a half ago. That's a shout out to Anonymous Studios and DJ Hem, and actually DJ Vice and DJ Spider. They're all part of that group out there.
Oh, cool.
It was amazing experience. It was very personalized. So I did that school while I was living out in Vegas. I still live in Vegas technically, but obviously I'm here majority right now doing the club and the restaurant. So, but my goals are just to keep the wheels turning on everything. So production, I have a kind of a side project with my buddy, Dominic, a DJ duo. So my goals with that is to do some production with that, so we can take that to the next level.
Sure.
And obviously some production for myself, just to keep adding value to my personal and DJ brand, so I can keep getting bigger opportunities, more festivals. I mean, that's doing obviously with NPi, with you guys doing Bonnaroo last year was to date, the biggest thing I've ever done and best experience I've had. So building off of that, and shooting towards more of that side of things. And I know that comes along with that is added value to your overall product, as a DJ, as an artist, production, songs that people truly play and stream on their phone every day. That's my whole goal, is to make music fun and good feeling music that people enjoy. So it'll add to my overall value and experience and all that.
Yeah, because that's a good point. DJs these days, to take it to the next level, you almost have to be a producer. You need to make music, but making that song that ends up on a bunch of playlists on Spotify and that people actually listen to and maybe even gets licensed is huge. And that can, one song can make your whole career.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I know like close friends that it's happened to. They were in their bedroom making music or DJing, and the next day they're on a tour. So it can happen overnight. Not that it will. And my biggest thing is I never have expectations like that. My expectation for myself is that it's going to take 1,000 failures and 1,000 steps to get to maybe one, big thing.
And usually
that's how I always look at it.
Yeah. And that's what people say. It's like, don't try to make a hit, just make music and just keep doing it. And eventually, or hopefully, it'll just come.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the business side is just growing the partnerships that we have with Forward Hospitality and keeping all our venues and our projects going at full speed, which we plan on doing right now. And we will be. We're just like everybody else, we're on a holding pattern.
Right.
But we're still, on weekly calls and communicating with each other and sharing ideas and being creative to try to stay ahead of the game, because you have to be ready for when all this gets back to normal. Even if it's not the same as what it was before, you have to be able to execute and stay sharp. So
if somebody wants to do an event at SeeSaw when you guys are back open, do they contact you? If they wanted to, rent the venue or have a party there or just do something, should they go through you?
Yes, 100%. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then are you going to be coming back to Cleveland playing at Forward and Magnolia, or whatever Magnolia becomes? Will you be playing at those spots anymore?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
100%. That's the best nights I've ever had were at Forward in the middle of the summer. DJing for 1,000+ people, all outdoors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as good for me. That's as good as it gets as well, along with the Vegas gig and the festival gig.
Yep.
It goes hand in hand. I've gotten to all my opportunity, not all, but a lot of my opportunities have stemmed from that place and just meeting the bigger DJs and talking with them and seeing them play and opening up for them. I've been so fortunate to be able to play with like all types of names. So that's not going to stop. And I look forward to that, getting back to normal as well.
Name some, in case somebody from out of Ohio is watching this and never been to Florida, name some names that you've seen there, because they have a pretty good calendar every year of talent.
Yeah. Along with all of the very, very good national, extremely skilled open format DJs that we have in. We have big electronic artists like Loud Luxury. I've gotten to play with like Morgan Page, and last summer I opened up and played with Chris Lake. You know, obviously he's extremely high up there right now with the genre of, you know, tech house and all that. Mm-hmm. And guys like Chami, even Little John. I mean, we have all types of acts. I mean, we're best. Our whole goal is like best in class at Forward, and I feel like we hold that pretty well because of the different entertainment we have, and that's all led by Dante, who I mentioned before.
Sure.
He leads that, and I think he does an extremely good job at it. So
yeah, the calendar there is amazing every year. Last question. You're on an island and you can have one song. What would that song be?
You know, it probably goes back to when I first started listening to music that wasn't in my iPod or MP3 player or my mix CDs in car. It was a song that I pulled from my mom's collection. It was Stevie Nicks' Edge of 17. And that'd be it. I mean, her voice is so good, and I would not be mad about hearing that every day. I mean, I probably wouldn't play it every day, but I wouldn't be mad if that was the only song if I was stuck with, for sure.
The reason why I was guessing that was because I asked you for, I don't know, we did a Q&A once when I sent you questions for the NPiEntertain.com website, and that was the answer to one of the questions. I don't know if it was I think it was like, what's the best song, which is super vague.
Oh, really? Damn. Yeah. I guess that's true then. I don't know why that song.
That's good. You really like that song.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. That is a good song.
If it was something newer, like newer generation, it would probably be Rufus Du Sol, No Place. I don't know if you know that song, but
I don't know. I know them, but not that song.
Yeah, I mean, I just fell in love, like their whole style and their whole sound in the last like 5 years. Especially, they did Coachella last year, and when I moved out to Vegas, they just came out with their newest album around that time. So I was just like banging that out on the long drives from like California to Vegas, and yeah, for sure. I mean, their whole sound, especially that song, I'd be stuck with and wouldn't be mad at all about it.
Where can people find you online?
Everything is just Justin Nyce. Nyce is spelled NYCE. So justinnyce.com or Justin Nyce on all the socials. Right. SoundCloud, Mixcloud. I try to keep those up to date. Spotify too, but there's just like curated playlists on there. Some of the original production I have isn't on there quite yet, but that's the whole goal in the near future. So
cool. Well, hey man, I appreciate you sitting down with me, and I wish you the best of luck for the rest of 2020. Hopefully we get back to business very soon, and I look forward to hearing you play out again in the near future.
Awesome. Yeah, you as well. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it.
Yep, I'll talk to you soon.